When we look at diagnostic evaluation and assessment, what we're looking for are what are the imbalances, because these imbalances need to be rectified. They need to be brought back into balance. Balance is not static. It's just not sitting like this. Balance is always in this undulation. As day turns to night and night turns to day, as spring turns to summer, everything is always in movement, and it always is balanced. Nature is our key. Nature is how we get this is how we get our lessons. The best teacher that I've ever had, and you probably also, is nature. Watching, paying attention. I remember the first teacher I had years ago in Chinese medicine. My first lesson was to go out to a pond and toss rocks up in the air and watch and listen, just to be really paying attention to when the rock hit the water in the pond, the ripples and the sound, and describing that. And that was my job. Different sized petals make different ripples, make different sounds. This is all extremely important as we hone in on really what it is we're looking for. Now, the causes of imbalance for the body and the mind. Now, the body and the mind are actually connected together. It's not a Cartesian theory of the body is different and separate from the mind. The body and the mind are one and the same. The body is the outprint, or it's the printout of how the mind is looking and thinking and looking and doing things. So, first thing we want to look at in balances of the body and the mind, we want to look at what's the energy. Is there a lack of energy? This is the number one cause. Usually it's going to be shown in weakness, fatigue, tiredness. In traditional Chinese medicine, we would call this an energy deficiency. And when we look at energy medicine, this is actually called the tone. We call it the tone because it's like tuning an instrument. If it's not, the strings of a guitar are not tuned together, when you strum, it's not going to sound that nice. It's not going to be pleasing to the ear. But if the strings are all tuned together, then we have a nice sound. Now, energy runs through the nervous system. The nervous system is what's going to connect our emotional, psychic, mental body with our physical body. So the nervous system has to be really in top shape condition. And this day and age, I really have to say that our nervous systems, most people are pretty exhausted and frayed and overworked. Not many people are really taking care of their nervous system. When I teach at the college here at the university, I teach a class on cleansing and fasting, and I always request that everyone take at least 3 to 5 days alone or at home by themselves, without the computer, without the cell phone, without music in the background, without doing business, just to heal the nervous system. Because if the nervous system isn't going to work functionally correct, nothing is going to work. The autonomic nervous system has the parasympathetic and the sympathetic aspects. The sympathetic aspect is more of our yang, energetic, movement, doing type of an energy. And the parasympathetic nervous system is our quiescence, our relaxing, our rest, our rejuvenation. Now, both of these nervous systems come off of our central nervous system, our autonomic nervous system. However, they cannot be engaged at the same time. So either one is engaged or the other. And today's society pretty much dictates that we have to be engaged in our sympathetic. Sympathetic nervous system is going to be fight, flight, or freeze. Parasympathetic nervous system is going to be rest, relax, and rejuvenate. So we need to get back into a calm, resting way, and our energy builds up. Our energy builds up all by itself. Now, how can we help our energy build up when there's a lack of energy? Obviously, meridian therapy, acupressure, different methods, different ways that you can help your client. But we also need breathing, good water, good food. I like to use herbs, exercise, sleep, rest, silence, quiet time. We don't always have to respond to everything, and most of the time the mind is so out of control it just jumps in anyway. We need to get control on this, to exercise our higher mind and allow our intuition to come forth. So the first cause of imbalance is going to be lack of energy, weakness, fatigue, tiredness. The second cause of imbalances is going to be congestion, stagnation, or blockaging. things that are blocked. Now, what happens in this kind of a situation, when there's a stagnation or a congestion, the energy fails to circulate properly. So we have a circulation problem now. And the energy moves mass. Qi moves the blood, blood makes the qi, as we say in traditional Chinese medicine. So when we're looking at congestion and stagnation, we're looking at the heart. We're looking at the circulatory system. As we're with the energy, we're looking at the nervous system. With the congestion, we're looking at circulation, which is the heart. Now, the heart has a rhythm, and this rhythm permeates all of life. You can see it in the seasons. A farmer would not know what to do if the seasons did not have a rhythm. How would a farmer plant some seeds in July and have it snow a couple days later? It wouldn't work well for the crop. So we need to know the rhythm of things. And rhythm builds power. Rhythm builds energy. Rhythm builds clarity of the mind. Rhythm builds health and strength of the body. When the body has poor circulation of the blood flow or body fluids, and the substances that should be released and excreted, and the substances, the nutrients that should be coming in are lacking, then we're going to have circulation problems. The circulation works extremely well with the respiratory system. That's why the heart and the lungs are both set up here in this first burning space of the triple warmer, is because the heart and the lungs work together to get oxygenation into the bloodstream and to deliver that oxygen into the cells, into the tissue, which makes the electromagnetic impulses strong and clear. So, breath is extremely important. Rest, movement, these are all important. If we don't have a good rhythm, if we don't have good circulation, we're going to have an energy stagnation, and what's going to happen then, our metabolic fire, our yang energy is going to go deficient because it's not going to get fed. It's like we have to feed the fire, and if you're camping and you're having a campfire and it's getting later and the campfire is going down, what we want to do is you put more wood on it. So what we're looking to do in this kind of a situation is we need to keep that fire alive, because the yang energy, the heat, the metabolism is what makes the blood move. Now the blood would just sit inside the vascular system if we didn't have energy to move it. So we got to have energy with blood. Now what we want to look at here is sometimes also not only the blood gets congested, but also body fluids get congested. And that can be everything from phlegm, mucus, to different parts of interstitial fluids. These all can become deficient, and I'll explain some signs in a little bit and how you can read these. Now, what we want to do is we want to get this rhythm going. We want the rhythm, the heart, the circulatory system to have rhythm. But rhythm is so much more than that. The body works on rhythm. Going to bed at around the same time, waking up around the same time, taking your meals around the same time, doing your exercise around the same time. Having things in a rhythm actually builds energy. So what we want to do is, with the client, you want to take a little bit of a picture on what their rhythm is. How are they living a lifestyle that is promoting rhythm, promoting energy, promoting circulation? Because if we have this happening, then imbalances won't occur. The third part of the imbalance, or the third aspect of imbalance, the first is being the lack of qi, weakness, and the second being lack of circulation, blood. The third being both, because you can't have both at the same time. I think of some of my patients who are up in age in 70s, 80s, and 90s. Yes, and their body fluids, their blood, and their energy are all depleting because wear and tear in the body. And the body needs to have a certain amount of blood and a certain amount of energy, digestion, circulation, things along these lines. So the third imbalance would be both the weakness of the nervous system, weakness of the energy body, energy itself, and the lack of circulation. Now, in traditional Chinese medicine, that takes us to the fourth cause of disease, which are the exogenous pathogenic factors. That means things coming from the outside that turn into a pathogen when they hit the body, such as wind, cold, heat, damp, dry, and summer heat also. what we're looking at with these is that they will penetrate the body. That's why we wear clothing. That's why the skin pores know when to shut and when to open. If the skin pores didn't know when to shut, we go swimming, our body becomes waterlogged like a sponge, we sink to the bottom. But the body has enough intelligence to close the pores so we don't get waterlogged. That would be a damp condition. Now, the exogenous means coming from the outside. In Chinese medicine, we say that the wind is the cause of 1,000 diseases because the wind pushes things. So if we're damp, if our body is perspiring and we go outside and it's windy, then that dampness is going to get pushed back into us, and that's going to cause a congestion. If it's cold out, then the wind pushes the cold, the damp, or the heat into the body, then that's the condition that our body is going to be in. So what we're looking at with the fourth aspect of causing imbalance is the exogenous pathogenic factors. The fifth aspect that causes imbalances is going to be your endogenous, which means happening from the inside coming out. Now, endogenous pathogenic factors are where the visceral organs themselves are not functioning correctly because they don't have enough energy or enough blood and body fluids. So you see the importance of having energy, blood, and body fluids. The organs need to have these. They need to have them to regenerate the nutrients they need, and they also need to get rid of the waste products. We don't want to just live in your own filth. So the body has methods: perspiring, spitting, blowing your nose, defecation, urination. We have different ways. We also have a way of where people release their emotional energy by going into their pain body and just allowing themselves to go off on some sort of a trance or get drunk and lost inside their own feelings, and they start spewing and anger and yelling. This is a part of a chi stagnation. So these are things to pay attention to. Each one of the internal viscerals have an emotion that's associated with, and we'll cover those in a little bit. But these endogenous factors, they're so important because that's what happens when the internal organs, they don't go correctly, they don't balance and they don't harmonize with one another. They start having this imbalance internally, and then that's going to manifest in different ways. So the heart, mind, and the spirit is extremely important. That's the most important part of how we want to get this, our health, is to keep a good heart, mind, a good spirit, full of vitality, optimistic point of view. I'm not saying deny or avoid pessimism. No, I'm both an optimist and a pessimist. I'm optimistic for everything I want, and I'm pessimistic for everything I don't want. So I can just maintain that mindset. And that actually has a lot to do because the heart houses the mind. The heart houses the spirit. In energy work and energy medicine or energy movement, we should understand something, that the mind is the surface of the heart and the heart is the depth of the mind. And it's inside the heart that we have the opportunity to catch a glimpse of the soul, which is a ray of light of spirit. So we're seeing how it transforms and steps down from spirit to soul to heart to mind. Most people, today's dilemma is that we're lost in thought. So people's minds are so active and so overactive that we really don't even have much opportunity to wake up in the morning and just say, oh, great, I'm alive. Life is so wonderful. Good morning, life. I'm just so in love with the birds singing or the rain cloud or the snow or whatever it is, just to accept what is on a good way. Another part of endogenous factors that are caused by is lifestyle. So many people I see, and their lifestyle is actually the cause. Numerous times I will say to a patient of mine, what we're doing, we need to evaluate you, and what you've been doing isn't working, because what you've been doing got you here because it's not working. So we need to make some lifestyle changes. That could be anything from changing our food, eating more vegetables and fruits of organic nature, staying away from chemicals, staying away from the poisons that we know, alcohol, sugar, tobacco, drugs. Drugs are a big one, big part of our society today, and it's actually in energetic medicine, traditional Chinese medicine. We look at pharmaceutical, petrol-based medicine as kind of like suppressive and eating away at our nervous system. So we need to pay attention to use what you need when you need. If you need a Western pharmaceutical, there is room at the table for all modalities of healing. You just need to know when to use what for how long. So the internal organs, the lifestyle. Are we breathing? Are we exercising? Are we getting enough rest? The nighttime was meant to relax and rest and sleep. The daytime was meant for activity. Are we following the rule or the law, the guidelines of nature? This is what we need to pay attention to, because if we don't, the internal organs go askew. When we don't have enough energy, we don't break down our body fluids. When the body fluids don't break down, we start accumulating, it becomes thicker, it becomes phlegmatic. And then now we have another cause of imbalance, phlegm. Phlegm congestion in the lungs, phlegm congestion in the body, in the sinuses. We say in Chinese medicine that the phlegm is made in the digestion, stored in the respiration. So when we have a phlegm imbalance, what you usually go for, it may be in the lungs or the sinuses, but what we're going to go for is we're going to go look at the digestion. In traditional Chinese medicine, when we look at allergies, which create a histamine reaction, we're working with the digestion. We're just not working only with the histamine reaction, whether it be hives or some other way that the allergic reaction is being shown. We're working with the digestion so we can eliminate the cause.